Why campus ministry? First of all, there are large numbers of students without an adequate knowledge of the gospel. In Australia today, there are about 1 million students across all of the campuses in Australia. Within about 5 years, a majority of those 1 million will have left campus and gone into some professional field or whatever that is they're doing beyond university. Some that we may feel a bit of sympathy for are those who stay on and become academics, but majority of those 1 million will move on in about 5 years' time. But on the campuses then will be another 1 million young people. And then 5 years after that, another 1 million young people. It is a sociological bottleneck, the universities of our nation. And with that type of turnover and large numbers, and the campus community that exists, it's a brilliant opportunity for us to impact tomorrow's leaders are on the campuses today. A few things about those people, and this is from surveys done by Students for Christ in 86 and 87. I imagine it's a similar type of result these days, but I guess we can't prove it unless we were to survey them. We conducted surveys of 2,000 students on Sydney University campus in 1986, and then 2,000 students in 1987 on the same campus during orientation week. They were just random surveys, walked around and questioned people. And in 1986, 80% of first year students surveyed were prepared to indicate a belief that Jesus is the Son of God. Now, we don't for a moment expect that answer was indicating that they were Christians or whatever, but there was at least a willingness to say yes to that question, to engage with that question in some way or other. 80% of first year students said yes to that question. In 1987, 15% of second year students said yes to that question. That indicates that in just the first year of university, 65% of first year students, something shifts, something changes in their way of thinking, their way of believing, their way of responding to a question, do you believe that Jesus is the Son of God? That would shift them from at least being open-minded and open-hearted about it to, no, I don't. 65% in just the first year. So we've got 1 million people every 5 years going through, and we've got 65% of them potentially being impacted in that way. It's an incredible time in a young person's life. They're going from high school into this incredible sense of freedom and personal power and personal expression and finding themselves, and it's all focused, so much of it, around what they do at university and the time that they spend and the friends that they make and the influences that they come under during that time at university. So why do we do campus ministry? Because there are large numbers of students without an adequate knowledge of the gospel. Again, I'm just now re-engaging in campus ministry after about 15 years out of it. But my estimation from when I was previously involved was that there would only that there would be 80%, and this is just a gut read that I had as I ministered around full-time around the campuses and so on. About 80% of students had no adequate or proper knowledge of the gospel of Jesus Christ and what Jesus Christ was all about. And I would think that the statistic, if not higher, these days would be somewhere similar. It is a sociological bottleneck that influences people within the first 12 months of them being there. The church needs a voice to those people. It's the future of our nation, it's the future of our world. There needs to be a voice there representing Christ and representing the kingdom of God and turning things to the positive and keeping people's hearts and minds open and being one to Christ. The campus environment presents an amazing opportunity to reach that million people every five years. And even though the campus community may have changed over the decades, it's still an incredible opportunity. People at that age are at the point of making decision and considering their future, considering their beliefs, considering what they stand for, who they are, and where they're heading in life. And the campus community, even though it may have become a bit more commercial, a bit more transient in people's thinking of it, there's still incredible opportunity to relate to people and present opportunity to present ideas, engage with people, engage with their beliefs, engage with their ideas. That isn't necessarily there once they're in the workforce or pursuing a career. The campus environment presents a great opportunity to present the gospel of Christ to people. Tertiary campuses are a philosophical and ideological breeding ground. Historically, universities were founded, the whole idea of the university was founded by the church. The church was the first one to set up the universities of Europe. And it was because the church was seeking the knowledge of God and seeking to explore the wonders of God's universe. And somehow in our 19th and, which century are we in? 21st century. 20th and 21st century thinking, we've allowed that sense of the church owning the place to be taken to secular people own it and the church is irrelevant here. And yet the reality is, because we've allowed that, the philosophies that are espoused there, what's put forward, is secular, is often anti-Christian, and so on. And yet there is opportunity for us to be a voice into that community and to reclaim what began as God's. When you look at the history of revolutions, Russia, China, the history of ethnic cleansings, like over in Cambodia and Vietnam and Rwanda and even Hitler. First thing they did was try to get the intelligentsia. They killed off those that did not believe, for example, in Russia, the Marxist philosophies, and they installed their own people into the positions of academia and of thinking. The universities are philosophical and ideological breeding grounds for a nation, and there's got to be a voice for the church there because the church founded the concept of university.